Hi guys, Han here, and I am tired. Hi guys, Han here, good morning. Today we are going somewhere very exciting together, which is the Hive Insight Museum. It opened yesterday and from the pictures it looks absolutely amazing, so I'm really excited to go. I like museums and exhibitions and that kind of stuff, so I think it'll be really fun. And of course there's merch, which means I'm going to spend so much money. I've already spent some money online, I can't lie, I've already just bought some things on Weverse. But yeah, I'm really excited, and of course I'm going to take you guys with me. But for those of you who can't come, hopefully this will be your chance to experience it as well. We're technically not allowed to record video in there, but I will take as many pictures as I can. So I'm going to finish my tea in my little Shuki mug. Lovely. I have about an hour before I have to leave, so I'm going to get ready and then let's go. Okay, so I just finished at the Hive Insight, and I must say it was actually really fun. I'm not sure if you can hear me because of how much it's raining, but if you do get the chance to go, definitely do. One trip is not enough. There's so much to do that you can't actually do it all in one trip because you have designated time in each area. So I suggest if you can come, try and do like 2 or 3 trips in one day if you can only come for the one day, or like space them out and come a few times because it was definitely a lot of fun. I think there's really like a lot to do. Also, if you do buy stuff on Weverse, you can buy more in store. So just a little tip for you guys if you know you want to buy a lot of merch or like you want to pick up stuff for your friends. But I'm gonna head home now, and then when I get home I'll give you my final thoughts. Oh, not quite. Hi. Sorry about that, but I really needed that nap. I was very tired, my stomach was hurting. Okay, so Hive Insight. Wow. First things first, like overall impression, amazing, wonderful. Chef says, mwah. So when you go, you have like a designated 2-hour time slot, and they give you different amounts of times in different areas. So I'm going to walk you through everything that we did and how much time we had to do it, and I'm going to show you some extra pictures and stuff as we go along. When you first go in, there's a locker room. Locker room is nothing really exciting. Remember, if you leave your bag in the locker room, don't make the same mistake that I did. Remember to take your headphones. When you go to the locker room, make sure you bring these 4 things with you, because those are the 4 things you need. Your phone, a portable battery, headphones, and your purse. There's going to be a docent, like a guide for the exhibition, who tells you like what each different part is about, and there's so many sections to go through. Once you've left all your stuff in the cloakroom, you then go down to the basement 2 floor, so B2, and that's where the entrance is. There's like this room where you first come in, and that's where you collect your card ticket. Also, they give you these little bags as well. So I do recommend you leave like your main bag in the locker room, and then you take one of these smaller ones as well. There'll be a certain colour that they're giving out to your group. It's usually 2 colours, and that kind of gives them an indicator of how long you're supposed to be in each section, if you need to move on to the next section and stuff, and that will make a bit more sense in a second. Anyway, then you go into this, it's called literally the portal, and it feels like it's a portal. It's just a dark room with like some flashing lights that kind of run through it. Basement 2 floor though, I do feel like it's really sad that we couldn't take pictures, because I feel like that's where you really got the understanding of like the music production part of it. So when you first go in, one of the first things you'll see is about the studio areas. I think that's where the inspiration for like the Studio 360 postcards came in. There's actually like a screen where you can go around each of the main producers, so you can actually look around at a 360 view of all their rooms on this screen, and you can zoom in and see certain things. There was also like a little like exhibition space for like installment space that showed like how they divide up parts of the songs in both terms of like the singing and then the layering of the different instruments, which was really cool. There was actually like an interactive part. I didn't get to do this because the line was just way too long, but I'll probably do it next time I go, where I think you could actually listen to like different layers of a song. So I think the song that they had, the one they had on the wall was on, so I'm assuming it's the same song. What else was on that floor? There was also a section where there was a focus on like the dancing. There was a space for each individual group, and you could see them dancing kind of like with no music. So because it was an open space, they couldn't play the songs that the guys were dancing to, but it was very interesting to see how impactful the dance was even without the music, if that makes sense. Not only that, but each group's video was also stylized to match their group. So for example, for the BTS one, they were dancing to Black Swan and they danced to Fake Love. So the whole video had this very like dark and moody kind of feel to it. Whereas the TXT one, they were dancing to Crown. So it had like this bright, like poppy, like with all the screen animation sort of. They did have a dedicated space as well to like each of the groups. Oh my goodness, I just remembered. For those of you who love like the BTS universe, they literally had like a massive map of the universe, and kind of like, it was almost like it was Jin's map of him trying to figure out where everybody was at different times. So it was like literally like the mad scientist sort of thing, where it's like, you've got like pictures here and sticky notes and like the strings and the pins and all that kind of stuff. It was really cool. I really wish, like honestly, when I saw that, I was like, man, I really wish I could take a video of it. But it was really cool because it had like each of the like obviously it's a universe, so each of the characters like homes and like where significant things happened to them were all marked on there, and there was like pictures from all the different music videos, so that was really cool. And they had that for like each different group, so every group had like their own little thing. There was also a section where they had like interviews. There was only 5 people that had interviews. So it was Namjoon, Yoongi, Hoseok, and then 2 other artists who I honestly don't remember, but I'm pretty sure it was one person from NU'EST and one person from 17. I could be wrong. But they had like 5-minute interviews where they would talk about a specific topic. I watched Yoongi's first because his was about lyricism. So his was about how he writes lyrics, what inspires him to write lyrics, like what lyrics mean to him. And for me personally, part of music that I enjoy besides singing is lyricism as well. So, and that's one of the things that drew me to BTS as a fan. So I was really interested to hear him speak about. Hoseok's one was about his work on disease and how he's feeling like during the pandemic, and how he feels like he should be working, but obviously he has all this time to rest now, but at the same time he doesn't feel at ease about it. Namjoon's was more about the message of the music. It's kind of hard to explain because I only saw like onto a little bit of his, so I didn't get to see the whole thing. I do want to watch his in its entirety next time I go. But he was just talking about like his 20s and stuff like that, and like how he believes that when he writes music, he's writing about his own experiences, but he didn't realise at first how much those experiences were kind of universal, and how him talking about his experience could actually help another person, because we all relate to each other to a certain degree. There was also, I'm pretty sure there was a couple of things on that level that I still didn't even see because I was like, there was just so much. After that floor, there's like a trophy room, and I think there's a picture from an article somewhere of this room. being inside the room is so much better. So that is, you cannot gauge how huge that wall is compared to like the size of a person. There was like a little video / light show, and it was just basically talking about why the messages we believe in music, going through the history of Hybe / Big Hit and some of the artists, and showing like their achievements. And as you saw, there's that massive wall with the trophies, right? It starts with us like almost inside a universe with like stars and everything around us, and then it has like videos from like the behind the scenes process of creating the music, and then it kind of gets to that point of these awards are the result of that process. And it's great because those are the actual awards, like those are the actual trophies of the different artists. It was really crazy because what they did is they have all the awards kind of like mismatched, so they're not all just like the same award in a row, and they would highlight each of the awards. So for example, a billboard, they would highlight all the billboards on all the Billboard awards on the wall, and then they would show it on the screens, like the videos of them accepting these awards and stuff. So when the video was actually finished, I really wish they gave us more time to do this, but when the video finished, all the trophies light up, and you can actually see like all the artist names on the different trophies, and that was really cool as well. I wish they gave us more time to actually look at the trophies, and we also weren't allowed to take pictures in there either, which I'm like, why? Oh, sorry, I forgot this. My favourite part from the B2, besides the interviews, BTS's stage mics. They had them in a case in the wall, and literally the girl next to me was like, I can't believe we can't take pictures of this, and I was literally like, I know. Sorry, I just remembered that, but that was honestly probably, it was so cool because you could see like where the little Swarovskis had like fallen out because of how much wear and tear the mics get, and where like the colour was starting to peel and stuff like that, and it was really cool just to see them. Like obviously I've seen them at concerts and the boys using them, but it's like, they were there. Yeah, that was cool. Anyway, so after we've done the trophy room, we get to go up then to technically a level up, but it's the B1 level, so basement 1, so it's below, yeah, you know what I'm saying. The first thing that you see when you go in is the 7 Phases exhibition by James Jean. I do feel like, honestly, no offense, I feel like it was a bit anticlimactic. Not because the exhibition itself was bad, but I feel like there should have been a bit more explanation. Obviously you had the docent, but I feel like the significance of the exhibition was lost if you're not like a particularly artsy person. For me personally, it's not my personal favourite type of art, no offence to Mr. Jean. I do see obviously the appeal in it, I understand like the meaning behind it, but I really wish they'd put more focus on it so that more people could appreciate it. And I feel like even myself, even though it's not my personal taste, I feel like I would have appreciated it more if there was just a little bit more effort put into explaining it. But yeah, anyway, so you go through the exhibition, it's like 2 or 3 rooms, and then there's this little AR game space. This AR game is honestly, in my opinion, no offense, but like the worst part. Like, I just don't understand what the point was. Is that too harsh? Sorry, I'm just being real with you guys. There'll be like everybody with a white bag and everyone with a black bag. Come on, it's time to go. So that's how you're moving with your same like group of people. So in this group of people, I think like 9 other people are in your team. And essentially you're in a team. You don't know who's in your team with you. And you're supposed to walk around this room. And in the room, there's supposed to be like tarts, like egg tarts. And you're supposed to collect them, and if your team manages to collect all of them, you guys can collect an award at the end. I did not find any tarts. I played the game for all of like 3 minutes and I was like, this is a waste of time, I'm trying to see the exhibition. So thanks to my team because I still got the award. But yeah, in that same room, there was like this little sound wave model, which was quite cool, and this little, some smaller art pieces, which were like collages of each of the groups, just histories, I suppose, like musically. There was also like a rhythm game, almost like Rhythm Hive or like Superstar BTS or something, that you could play with like the Samsung Galaxy, Galaxy phone, so I'm assuming that was like a sponsorship or something. And then, oh, there was one really cool thing in that room that I really liked. It was talking about how you can read music. Like, obviously when you think of music, you think about hearing music, but it was showing you how you can read music from like staves? music staves. Oh my god, music manuscript paper. You know what I'm talking about. And also it had, I thought this was really cool, but it had braille as well of, I don't know because I don't read braille, but I thought it was really nice because it was giving you the opportunity to literally feel the music. And it was providing a music experience for people who can't actually hear music. And I thought that was really, really cool. So if you stood in front of it, there was like a mini speaker on top of you where you could hear the music. And on the screen, you could see the chords going through the music. But then also, like, I think if I was to take an educated guess, I would assume that the braille was the lyrics or something. But I thought that was really cool. And they did those for, I believe it was NU'EST and 17 songs, not BTS and TXT songs. I do think there was a nice balance of the different groups. Probably a little more could have been done for Girlfriend, if I'm completely honest. There was definitely a boy group focus there. Also, there was no Ehans, which personally I was like, oh, that's a bit sad. I would have liked to see some Ehan stuff, but I mean, okay, I guess. In the next room was the Scent of Music or something along those lines, and it was like the Euphoria room, so this was BTS related again. And it was really nice. It was very simple, but there was like holes in the wall that you could like essentially stick your head into and you could smell different scents. I was only able to actually smell one of them because we were all wearing masks and I don't have the strongest nose in the world anyway, so sorry. And then after that, there was like this open space again, and this was probably another really exciting area that I think a lot of people would enjoy because you could see some of the stage costumes that some of the artists had worn. So the two most noticeable ones, or the two that were there, should I say, were the Dior outfits from BTS. Yes, exactly. And then there was also some outfits from NU'EST. I don't know the relevance of the NU'EST ones because I'm not a NU'EST stan, but they were nice outfits, I'll give them that. And then at the end of that room was a wall that had all the posters and photo cards that were available for sale. So they were all up, so you could actually look at them. Oh, I almost forgot. There was also a little case. I'm sure you guys have seen this on Twitter. There was a little case with like the BTS Billboards Award and then like their platinum thingy, like different magazines they've been featured in. And of course Yoongi's guitar, which is surprisingly small in real life. I also play guitar and that guitar is tiny, but but I mean, it's probably a good size for someone who's learning, so it makes sense. And then that kind of brings you to the end of the main exhibition. So there's only like 2 rooms after this. So the first room after is the silence room. And it's basically trying to ask you the question, could you imagine a world without music? And I thought, honestly, this was a brilliant idea with poor execution. Because bearing in mind, you have maybe like 50 people walking into this room, which mind you is full of like soundproofing. So all the walls and ceilings are covered in soundproofing foam. So you can already hear the sound inside is quite muffled and things like that. But there's no point where they actually ask you to be silent and just listen to the silence. And I'm like, is that not the whole point? Because bearing in mind, I'm not sure if everybody knows this, but in Asia, most phones, you cannot turn off the sound of your camera when you take a picture. Like the camera sound is inbuilt to always play when you take a picture. And of course, everybody in the room is taking pictures, like going, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Oh, this is so cool. And it's like, you don't actually get to enjoy the silence, which is the whole point, and like feel what that would feel like. So I do feel like that was a bit of a wasted opportunity there. Even though it was a really brilliant idea, the execution could have been a bit better. And then you come to the last part of the experience, which is like a video of all the different artists. It's literally like a line each, but it talks about like their journeys to becoming artists and kind of what being an artist means to them, what they feel the power of their music is, and what pushes them to keep going. So like it started with some artists talking about how they were cast on like literally just walking on the street and they were like, hey, come and be an idol. And then it moves on to like talking about how hard it was for them being trainees and how they had to really ask themselves, is this what I want to do in life? Like, is this really my calling? Because it's hard, you know, like I'm having a hard time. And then it was like how their fans are what gives most of them strength to keep going. And like, even when they're struggling on tour, I thought that was really nice actually. They had a bit where they kind of got vulnerable and talked about when they felt like the hardest parts of their career were. And some people were like, oh, it's when I'm on tour and when I'm physically tired. Some people it's like when I can't see my friends and my family and I feel like I'm losing those connections. And it was really cool to just like hear the different stories. Like even honestly, even though I don't know, like I know of each of the idols, but I don't obviously stand all of these idols. But it was still quite moving to hear their experiences, even if they weren't somebody who I felt like a personal connection to. Ultimately, they all kind of came to like the same conclusion that it's their fans who keep them going, and also they realized through their work like how much music impacts people. It was kind of like the end message was kind of like talking about what the power of music is and why music is so significant in our world, and just how they hope they can continue to make music for as long as possible. Honestly, it made me very emotional. Like, I think it was a very nice way to end the exhibition, and they played Young Forever, so obviously like there were literally people like sniffling and crying like it's kind of frustrating that everything was timed, because honestly, if I had the choice, I feel like one, I could have spent way longer in there. I know obviously other people have to come in, so that's why they can't let you be in there indefinitely, but I would have liked to spend more time in certain areas, and that video I would have liked to watch it at least 2 more times, if I'm completely honest, because I feel like there was a lot to take away that, like, honestly, watching it once wasn't enough to remember everything that was said, but there was a lot that was very meaningful in there, and that's another thing that I really wish they'd share like on YouTube or something for other people to see, because I do think it was a very nice video. But yes, that would be the end of like the exhibition sort of stuff. And then you come out to the shop. 99% of the stuff in the shop is the stuff that is on Weverse. And oh, there was also that, oh yeah, this is the other thing I was like, I see the idea behind it, but once again, the execution was a bit weird. There's a recycling lab where they basically cut up pieces of the idols' old stage outfits and then put them in like resin blocks and keychains. And I was like, I like the idea of recycling, that's great. I understand why people would want things made of like our biases, clothes and stuff. But I think one, the pieces were so small that it's impossible, almost impossible to recognize any of the pieces of clothing, which kind of loses the allure. Like, this could literally be any random t-shirt. I would be none the wiser. Two, I feel like it would have been nicer if they were gonna do that, if they made them into things that are actually useful, as opposed to like a block that just sits on display. Like, the block literally has no purpose, and it kind of goes against, like, logically it goes against the idea of recycling. Like, surely the whole point of recycling is to reuse something and make it useful again. But you give me this resin block, which I'm pretty sure is not even recyclable, with a piece of cloth inside it. It's just eventually, like, it's just gonna sit on the shelf forever. Like, I don't really understand the point of that. I think that would have been cool if you knew what piece of clothing it was, and it might be like, oh, this is like what my bias wore on my first concert during my favourite song. You know what I mean? Like, that would be more meaningful, but I think they kind of missed the mark. That's my personal opinion anyway. I just didn't understand the point. Anyway, oh, also, don't forget, if you do the AR game, they do give you your prize in the store. So I recommend getting the prize first because the queue is kind of long. And then that brings you to the end of the museum. For me personally, if I had to rate it out of 10, I would give this like 9.5 stars. Like, honestly, it was, even though there was a couple of things where I was like, this is a bit of a shame, or it just didn't really make sense to me, like, overall, the experience was really nice. That 0.5% is honestly timing. I really wish they made it 3 hours instead of 2, because I really just think there's so much to do that you can't finish in one go. And while I understand that for most people in Korea, we can come back because we live here, right? But like, if you're on holiday or something and you can really only go once, you can't get the full experience, especially if you stay in more than one group. So I do feel like if you really wanted to get the full experience, there's just no way you could do it in one trip. And I do feel like that's kind of for people who can't always visit very easily. I honestly really enjoyed it. I am curious to see how it will change in future, because I think we all have this expectation that at some point they will like renew it and update it, maybe when there's more artists or like when new songs come out and stuff like that. Also, I'm curious to see what exhibition they're going to do after the 7 phases that they've got with James Jones at the moment, because it's quite clear that that space is just an exhibition space that's going to be constantly changing. So when that ends, I'm very curious which artist they're going to pick and which artist is in which idol, and then which artist is in which actual artist they're going to have collab next. But yeah, all in all, that was my vlog slash experience slash thoughts on the Hive Insight Museum. I highly recommend it to anybody who has the chance to go, and for those of you who don't, I hope this video was insightful and enjoyable and at least gave you a little bit of the feeling of being there. If you like this video, please like this video, and if you would like to see more videos like this, why not become a resident of the Haniverse and subscribe to the Haniverse, the channel, so you can go on more adventures with me, because I love to take you guys places, I love to do things with you guys. I live in Korea and I also work in the K-pop industry, so I feel like I could give you guys a lot of interesting experiences and insider info. Otherwise though, I will see you in my next one. This has been Han from the Haniverse. Thanks for stopping by.